Good day everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Or hello if you're just joining me today. Today we're going to be talking about the lore dump, or the article that was placed up yesterday about ashwastes. Got some knowledge or new fluff about the Nomads themselves, and a little map and a couple of other things on the article. So what I'll do is I'll just break down what we got. It's not a very long video, but it is important to keep track of the lore that's coming out, and that's what this series is really going to be doing. It's going to be looking at the lore upcoming, and I'm also going to be doing the videos regarding the various gangs. I know someone's asked for Cawdor next. Okay, I will be doing it after I finish the Goliaths, which is about 3 or 4 more videos to go. So it is coming. It's just going to be after the Goliaths.
It's all in there.
So Necromunda is a planet that supplies a lot of other planets, and the way that hives are connected together is through like underground tunnels with like maglev trains, or with flyers that fly and take the materials between the various points of contact. Now if you want to go on the surface, there's the ashwastes, and caravans do have to traverse this horrible like ashen waste desert. It's had a few incarnations in the lore. Sometimes it's described as being like a desert, like a normal desert. Sometimes it's described as being like black, with like soot and grime and dirt. Other times it's described as like in between the two, or a bit like Dune, or other weird things. There's no real set thing on how it looked until really nowish. So it says the bulk of goods must be transported across the ashwastes on Cargo 8 ridge haulers or dune runners. This might be a clue on what type of neutral vehicles we might be getting. These convoys are run by the Guild of Coin, and they make many perilous journeys along the north, south, east, west trade routes. Those coming from Hive Rothgal in the west or Hive Kronos in the east travel along the Great Ash Road, while those hailing from the Minerva cluster must traverse the Minerva Highway. And we get a little map. The key to this north-south trade is Cinderak City and the Great Crater in which it shelters, resting on Necromunda's equator. This marks the halfway points between the Hive Minerva and Hive Primus. It was created centuries ago during the civil war between Lady Cinderak Helmore and Lord Gorthrul Helmore, when the former obliterated Hive Meridian in a fit of rage. So these two Helmore individuals had like a mini civil war, and one of them nuked Hive. So that's a bit of lore there. The outland settlement of Cinderak City was built upon the bones of the old Hive, so it's basically a shell, and quickly growing into a trading hub loosely controlled by the Merchant Guild and far beyond the reach of the noble houses, so anything goes really. It was not long before the clan houses moved in and they started their shenanigans. Bearing the House of Iron is a common sight in the waste around Cinderak, guarding the land trains, or just as often running them off the road. Of course, the further you travel, the more that you're more likely to come to our friends, the Ashwaste Nomads. Now this is where the meat of the article really comes into play. The Nomads are now described as maybe beyond human or part mutant. This is a new thing because they were once like the ancestors of noble house who had a massive grudge, but now it seems to be that they're sort of like survivors, or maybe even aliens. It alludes to them not entirely being human. It says that the last true citizens of the Arnius community fled from their oppressors into the wastes of the now blighted world. Some say the Nomads are descended from these first people, tormented and changed by the wasteland into creatures that stalk the world today. A hatred of the Imperium and its proxy house Helmore still fresh in their hearts, so it's still maintaining that they hate Helmore. The ruthless cloaked Nomads are brutal in battles, striking with utter surprise. Clad in their flowing hazarm or ash cloaks, they lie for hours beneath the shifting sands, waiting for their prey to draw near. They strike with sudden and overwhelming force to bring down their quarry, etc., etc. They also have a habit of taking their dead away, which basically alludes to this mythos of them not entirely being human. Also, there's a superstition where they are basically can't be killed and they were resurrected through some sort of dark sorcery, or they basically just revive after a certain period of time, or it alludes to that anyway. It's also alludes to the fact that the surviving injuries that would kill normal people don't kill nomads. The most terrifying aspect is their connection to their beasties, or the Himelites. These deadly insect predators are designated endomorphs by imperial scriveners. They are seemingly as old as the Waste themselves, born in the toxic deserts and chem-rich soils. Himelites live in great rubbish piles or mounds, yet the ashwaste nomads are able to tame them and ride them into battle. So that's basically the end of the article. So we can gather a couple of things, or muse a couple of things from it. The nomads are not entirely human. We don't exactly know what they are. The nomads have some sort of weird, maybe Xenos or mutant origins or mutant leanings, possibly. It very alludes to them either being part alien or part mutant. Anyway, the enforcers are really not out here. It's more of a gang, mercantile controlled area. So that means that the House of Coin is probably going to appear in some format, maybe expanded on more than the pictures and the stats that they are now, basically. It also links to our friends Houseorlock, who are caravan guards, so that's very fluffy that they get the vehicles first and they get their first, battles with the nomads. So what else can we find out? Well, we found out a few names of a few more hives. We found out that the Helmors are not quite united as we thought. They had a mini civil war and they nuked an entire hive because of their sibling spats. Now, that's pretty harsh, isn't it? I mean, this brings back memories of the Atomics in June, in my opinion. Maybe they're alluding to some sort of making nods to that. Atomics really are not banned in 40k. There's planets of exterminators, so one family member nuking an entire hive is not entirely unexpected for lore. We also understand that Cinderak City is basically a ruin or a shell because of Lady Cinderak and Lord Grothal Homeworld. We also get some names of some roads and a few other bits and pieces. It mentions that
people you can turn to, like family. Maybe you'll find your own down in Night City.
That the soils are chem-rich and there's a great rubbish mounds. There's a lot of information about the Himelites. It calls them endomorphs, which if my Latin's very bad, so let me just look. A higher percentage of body fat and less muscle mass. They're often heavier and roundier and do not necessarily have obesity. Endomorphs. That's what it says. That's what the first link says. So they have a high muscle mass, so maybe they can jump and do stuff like that. So there we go. So that's all really that we know about it so far. Yes, this video is a bit late because I was editing the video for Goliath yesterday and it dropped when I was doing that, so I thought, I'll just do it today. But continuing on from now, what's going to happen now is I'm going to continue the Goliath series. Next video is going to be a bit about gang and a bit about dramatis personae, because I think that's important to include before we get into the nitty gritty of gangs. So we're going to look at dramatis personae and we're going to look at a bit of gang culture as well within the Goliaths themselves, because I've missed a couple of things and I found a few things out, and it's important to note them because they could be quite fluffy and cool to play with in lore, or at least thematically. So there we go. So thank you all for your time. Do take care of yourselves. Please like and subscribe and do all the cool YouTube stuff. Leave a comment or whatever. That would help me out immensely. So thank you. Take care. Bye.